Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it is time for us to talk about coping with stress. I'm hoping that your week has not been too stressful. Actually, touching wood, mine has been pretty even this week. I'm not saying it didn't have stress, because it did. But if any of you have got any stress that you want to talk about, or leave me a note on the replay, any way that we can help you, you just let me know. For those of you who don't know, DearMamaSal is a group of people. It's not just me. It's a group of people who get together 3 times a week. And on Friday lunchtimes, that's Pacific time, we actually talk about coping with feelings. And on Friday evenings, we talk about coping with life, and we normally do a fun cooking thing. And then on Sunday afternoon, 3:30, we talk about coping with stress. And we are really a giant support group for anybody who might need it. So welcome to you all, and thank you for being here. And to let you know that life is continuing as it should. I found it quite interesting. I've been watching a little bit of the Olympics, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But it is interesting how different people are reacting to the Olympics this year. Let me just go right ahead here. Today we're going to focus a little bit about the stress of changing habits. Jeannie, I see that you're on, and I'm certain that after a year of living away from your home due to your fire, you sort of must have acquired new habits while you were living in hotels and also living in an apartment. And I wonder how many of those new habits are ones that you will continue. And feel free to give us a heads up on that one. Please remember to follow us on Facebook, particularly because we use that as a place to update everybody on everybody. It's like our notice board. And if I've got any news about anybody's, health, wealth, or well-being, that's where I will post it. Also, if you can, follow me on Twitter, just because I will put up notifications on Twitter as well. So for those of you who missed Friday, I do want to tell you that I can't remember who it was that asked me to do more meals in mason jars. And I do find that mason jars are the ultimate way to cook for 1 or 2 people because you have the ideal proportion control. I was saying, I wonder if I've got a clean one. No, I haven't got one big enough now. I do my cooking. Yes, I have this one. I do my cooking in this size mason jar. I think it's 1.5 cups. And it's actually a perfect meal. And what we did on Friday, in case you missed it, we did pot pies in mason jars. And I am delighted to tell you that even though I made 2, they disappeared. There must have been a hole at the bottom of the jar. I don't know. And I purposely put one in the freezer so I wouldn't eat it. And I did the next day. It was so good. I know that we have got birthdays today. Actually, Linda's today. Happy birthday, Linda, in the UK, and Farmer tomorrow. So let's just make sure they know that we care. Is there anybody online at the moment that missed the update on Jody? Or maybe I should just read it. Yes, I'm going to mention that, Jeannie. Thank you for the heads up. I did actually make a note of that to talk about that. So, Jeannie, anything that you want to add in terms? Okay, let me see here. Jeannie's saying tomorrow our countertops, this is in the new home that's been rebuilt, are being put in. We're getting the dog acclimated. Good. She and I are in the guest bedroom until our regular bed is fixed at the end of the month. New mattress has a big rip. Wow, that's sad to hear. So, and our thoughts and prayers with Jody's continuing recovery. For those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin, and she just had one of those gastric bypass type surgeries. what is it, 2 weeks ago now? It must be coming up 2 weeks tomorrow. And just amazing, her progress. She's already lost something like 13 pounds, and just really amazing to see what's happened. Heads up, if Crystal, if you happen to see this broadcast, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and please come back and visit us. The last update that I got from Jody, I'm going to read, and if Jody's got more to add, I'm sure she will. She said, the pain is decreasing, is now about level 2 or 3. Incisions are healing beautifully. I was advanced to pureed food. I call that baby food, right? And will be for a month. I'm pleased about the variety of options that I have now. I'm allowed to even the simplest things I look at that I once took for granted. You know, the idea of being able, I'm just thinking out loud, being able to have, you know, a small amount of mashed potato must be so exciting. She lost 13 pounds. Vitamins and supplements will be, you must be already on those, Jody. And I'm having fun researching and rewriting recipes adapted to my new regimen, right? My new lifestyle. Thank you all for your support and encouragement on my journey. No bread until the next appointment in August, which means that she's going to be able to eat bread in August. You had mashed potatoes last night and then you nearly cried. Oh, that's so cute. All right. I'm delighted for you. I really am. If any of you have birthdays this week that, you know, other than Linda and Farmer, people that we don't know about, please let us know. I also wanted to give a thank you yet again to Lynn, who is a viewer who does every now and then comes up with these incredible thumbnails. And I just wanted Lynn to know that I got a note from Jeannie today saying, and I quote, your lovely smiling face across from the scaredy cat, ears pinned back, eyes bugged out, and even whiskers straight up. Great. So Lynn, thank you. A great thumbnail. And yep, Jody's also saying thank you so much for the thumbnail. So just want you to know, Lynn, that we do appreciate it. And I have a feeling that when you're making them, you know, if it makes you smile, it's going to make us smile. So go right ahead. I just think their thumbnails are so great. I really do. By the way, another thing, just in terms of you know, I'm really trying to do everything I can to portion control things. So I'm going to eat a whole loaf of bread this evening, maybe half, but I'm allowed to have a whole one if necessary, but I think it'll probably be a half, because that's the size of my loaf. And what I'm going to do is cut it this way. Maybe I should just do that so you can see. And there is my loaf of my homemade sourdough. So do you understand? What I've discovered is this does not spike me. So I can choose to have half of it in the morning with maybe some peanut butter, and the other half I can dunk in my soup for the evening. So I thought I'd just show you it is possible. And again, Jody, what would I have done without your teaching me these things? Because it really does make a difference. And while I'm on this subject, how many of you buy grapes or any other food that comes in these bags like this? I found they're really useful. I used to throw them away, but I'm beginning to find great uses for them. One of them, you know, I think you all know that I reuse my plastic baggies, and they're great for containing plastic bags, and it keeps them really neat and tidy in the drawer, like that. So that's so. Oh, cheers. Jeannie is saying about the bread, all right, looks so good. Great for people with Crohn's disease. I want to tell you, sourdough is good for anybody. And I say that because it just, by the time you've made sourdough, it has taken all the sugar or most of the sugar out of the bread dough anyway. And I think you can see that, that's Jody will be happy with that crumb, I think. I could be wrong. Yeah. So, and I make my own, and all I do is I just have sourdough going all the time. And then when I make my bread, I take a spoon of it and put it in my dough. So there we go. I have to say that it has been one of those weeks, and I wonder if anybody missed Friday's lunchtime broadcast where we talked about the feeling of despair. And the reason that I wanted to talk about it on Friday was because I think we all have it, but also we have friends who have it. And what I wanted to do on Friday was talk a little bit about what you can do and what not to do with somebody who is in despair. I also wanted to say that, let me find this, hang on a second. Just bear with me a second. Yes, on Friday evening, we did these mason jar meals. And I always love it when people get inspired by one of the meals that we cook up on a Friday evening. And so, again, Jeannie, thank you so much. Jeannie wrote to me and said, I had defrosted ham. Watching your chicken pot pies, I decided to make ham pot pies with mushrooms, sweet yellow peppers, and peas. With mushroom soup. There you go. You see, it's amazing, isn't it? To use a can of soup as a base is so clever. And a mushroom soup is a particularly tasty one to do for something, yes, like ham. And so I must admit that the ham and pea soup that I used really was an incredible base, and it tasted so good. But it saved a lot of money. If you think about it, how much money would I have spent trying to make that base? And so that's why when I'm doing something like that, I will, every week when I do my shopping, I try and buy another can of some sort of soup that I know that I can use as a base. And so I encourage you to do that. It is, and I don't use it all. And what I don't use, I freeze freeze them in ice cube trays. Actually, I lie. I find that's I use silicone cupcake trays because that is about the right amount that I need to do a mason jar meal. So really interesting. And that big can that I had, I think it made me, I could be wrong, but I think about nearly a dozen pucks by the time, I got everything in there. So that is awesome cost saving. Ovid, many, many, many years ago, said, habits change into character. How many of you have found that you've changed a habit, and just because you changed a habit, you changed in some way, you improved your character? And I want you to give some thought to that and how important it is to understand that we can constantly improve ourselves just by improving our habits. And it's difficult and stressful to change habits because they're habits. But one of the things I have definitely learned is if I want to do things better in anything, I need to change my habits around it. And one of the things that I really like to feel is the joy of changing a habit and realizing, something, it actually is making a difference for me. And I, every now and then I change the habits of the broadcasts, right? And just because it's just like, okay, and I want to do, a slightly different thing. And, one of the things I found is you can probably imagine that getting the broadcast prepared and ready to go on stream, it's fairly stressful because every week I'm thinking of new things to talk about. Feelings, I need new things. I have new things and what am I going to cook? And then I have new things, what I'm going to talk about in terms of stress. That in itself is stressful. And then I thought, and what I've had is a format that I've used to do those. And then sometime a couple of weeks ago, I thought, why do I have 3 different programs? One for the Friday lunchtime one for the Friday evening one, and one for the Sunday one. Well, it made sense at the beginning, as I'm sure you can understand. It made perfect sense to do it that way. But then I ended up with this program, which I think I've talked about before. I'm not getting paid by them, called Asana. And it is a really good time management tool in terms of keeping a lot of information at your fingertips. And then I said, something, I just need one now. I can just do it with one. And then what I do is all during the week, I add things into it. And then what happens on Thursdays, I sit down and I go, okay, now what of all these things do I want to use for coping with feelings? And what feelings do they slot into? And then I'll look at it and go, I've got a long list, by the way, of things that I'm getting ready to cook. And so, all of these things, it's like changing the way I do it, the habit that I have has actually worked for me. And then, what I have left, I also think about, okay, what is it about that? Was it stressful? If so, I'll use that one on Sunday. And so think about that. The habit I'm also changing, as some of you also know, is I'm talking about Christmas in July. Why? Because I have decided this year I'm not going to be late I want to send Christmas cards. I know what it's like to get a Christmas card. How many of you agree with me that I don't care what reasons we give for not sending them, there is still something very magical about receiving a Christmas card. So now what I have done is I think I'm about 3/4 done on making my Christmas cards. And the great news was the envelopes arrived today. Yeah, we're only 5 months away, exactly. And so, it's just like I've had such fun. Oh, and what do I want to show you? When I was talking about it, was it Friday lunchtime? I was showing you that I had made a door hanger like this, so that I could hang it on some of my neighbors' doors, and just put some, and then Beth asked me, can you put a credit card in it? Well, at the time, it was just a card that you opened up. And I thought, I think I could redesign that and turn it into something that you could put a credit card and maybe some candies in. And it actually opens up a little bit more than that. But it's just like, if Beth hadn't asked me, I would not have come up with the design to turn what was a card, which I thought was quite clever as a card because you could reuse it every year and just hang it on your front door. But now I because I have the habit of listening to my viewers, it was just like, yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't I turn it into a pocket that you can actually drop things in? So my neighbors will now get, a couple of candies, cooked chocolates or something in theirs when I hang it on their door. So isn't that cute? And if I hang it over there, you're not going to see it. If I hang it down there, you might. Okay. So it just literally hangs on the door like that. Yeah, you can't see that. If I got a darker colored one, I've got some darker colored ones. Yes, great for gift cards. And also, funny you should say about the candy canes. That's what I was going to do, is just put a note in there or a mini card in there and a couple of candy canes, hanging over the edge. That's exactly what I thought to do, Jody. So we agree. Door hanger. So thank you to Beth, if she happens to ever hear this one. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't have come up with it. How about this one? How many of you agree that a change in your bad habits creates a change in your life? It is, we all know we've got bad habits and they're stressful. And a lot of the bad habits we have are because we are stressed. I took the time this week to walk over to my neighbor, the one that protected me when my other neighbor decided to have a go at me again. And I walked over there just to thank her for standing up for me, because, her reaction was, why do you have to be so mean? And I said to her, it's really strange that you, not strange, but I was really touched that you did that. And I want you to know how much I appreciated it. And then I took the time to ooh and ah on her new deck and what she was doing with it. And, it was just like it was a good opportunity. Jody's saying changing bad habits takes commitment and time, but it's so worthwhile for the improvement in quality of life. Yeah, I think that you could probably write the book on changing your habits, right, Jody? One of the things you said to me yesterday was, I can't, I'm having trouble consuming enough to get my numbers right, because even though she's not allowed to eat, she still has to get enough protein in her body through liquids and things. So what sort of things will add that? That yogurt would add to that, liquid protein shakes would add to that. Any other things that I haven't thought of right now? And so that is a thing that when I heard Jody talking about that, it is part of the reason why during the week, what I'm trying to do, no, I'm not trying anymore. That's for losers. During the week, what I'm doing is I am making more soups. Two reasons why. Number one, it is going to help me use up my overstocked fridges and freezers. And secondly, what it does is it is definitely having an effect on my blood sugar. Now, I think those of you who were on the Friday broadcast know that I had a bit of a moment last week where I got sad and ended up consuming a whole bag of Werther's soft caramel candies, which are just, so good. And, my blood sugar went right up. And I'm pleased to be able to tell you that thanks to the training that Jody gave me on how to, not panic when I do that to myself, and then what to do to correct it, I'd like to tell you that it's perfectly back under control right now. And that to me is a new habit. I know how to control, I know I'm allowed to have a bad day, and I also know how to get it back under control when I do. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about in terms of Christmas in July, you will remember that over the last couple of weeks, I've been cooking and adding, hang on a second. in certain things, I've been adding this incredible mustard that it's called Ray's mustard that Jeannie sent me in a care package one time. And I want to tell you that if she had put nothing else in the bag, this is the gift that keeps on giving. And the reason it's the gift that keeps on giving is it's so tasty. But what I realized is that it is now down to about here. So I think I made some passing comment about I'll have to do some research and see if I can get some more. Jeannie just told me not to bother because there's already some more on the way. Now, Jeannie, I don't know how to thank you, but I want you to know this was so good. I mean, it was just like, and it so suits the sort of things that I cook. Yeah, and Jodie's saying that she needs to try it because I've raved about it. It just gives such a lot of taste. And, for anything, I will use what I've got left. I'm doing these barbecue spare ribs, so I will probably use some of this on those as well this coming week. So thank you, Jeannie. I really, really appreciate it. 3 different kinds are coming. Oh my gosh, that's overkill. But well, you will keep getting mentioned in the cooking videos. Well, you get mentioned every week anyway. So, but it's just like, that is awesome. So maybe I could, is it available all over this place, Jeannie? So if Jodie needed some, is there some way, is it carried by something that we can get it? Anyway, I'll let you sort that out. Just in terms of achievement, anybody have any achievements since Friday? And the reason I'm saying that is, even though I am having sort of yo-yo moments because of getting upset and so forth, I'm still down 10 pounds or just under 10 pounds since I got back. I'm pretty happy about that. I want to say that I don't feel like I've lost it, but I have. And then I wanted to also thank Crystal, who reminded us that if we want to lose weight, a gallon of water a day is a really good place to start. So a gallon is 2 of these. It's amazing how difficult that is. I'm still struggling, but I also now am making myself watery shakes. In other words, when I made this shake, it has a little bit of leftover coffee, a little bit of skim milk, and then the rest is ice. And then Nigel the Ninja does its job. And then I realize I'm drinking quite a bit of water with protein because it's got a little bit of milk in it. Yes, that's right, Jodie. Jodie's saying, wow, there is a Ray's mustard mill in Eastport, Maine. That's where, that's why Jeannie sent it, because she's from Maine. Duh. It's up the road from you. You can probably send Lionel up for a quick hike. How far away is Eastport from you? Money saving tip for the week, for those of you who are stressing about money. One of the things I have never done, but I'm thinking about doing it, how is the price of eggs going? Eggs getting more expensive? Because what I realized this week was it's a really good idea to take a muffin tin. Okay. This is what I'm thinking about. And then just cracking half a dozen eggs in them and freeze them. So when you want to use them, just take, after they're frozen, just take them out of the container and then, put them in a bag. But now, whenever you need to bake something, you can just take out a frozen egg and, just put it on the counter to thaw and then add it in. Now, for those of you who like to do meringues and stuff, maybe you put the whites on one side and the egg yolks on the other. That you can also do. And anyway, has anybody done it? Because I'm going to, I've got, normally what I do with my eggs as they're coming towards their expiry date is I boil them. So I just thought I would add that for those of you who are able. Now, something else I wanted to give you a reminder about. For those of you who do use a lot of eggs because you're bakers, no names mentioned here, Jody, because you're bakers, one of the things that I want to remind you of is that have a look before you buy half a dozen or a dozen eggs, have a look at the price of a flat of eggs. What is that? Normally about 2 dozen? Because I think you will be amazed at how much a flat of eggs costs. It's a little bit above a dozen. But if you are then freezing half of them, think about the cost saving. There's a 50% saving on eggs right there. I always said, well, I can't buy a flat because I don't use enough eggs. Now I'm going, actually, now I think I'm going to try this out and see what happens. So I'll give you an update on that one. The next egg purchase, I'm going to buy a flat. Yes, 30 eggs per flat. Okay, not 2 dozen, 30 eggs per flat. Great savings, unbelievable. Do you want to just quickly check, Jody, if you could, just so that we can show how much of the saving? And go for something that's generic, like brown eggs, just so, I don't want to, I buy a particular brand of eggs. I buy Born omega-3 eggs because they look so good. And they are good for me. But, it's just like, I just want to make sure we remind people what a saving that really is. Now, I've said to you under Be Prepared, Not Scared, to know that we're going to begin to have people come visit us. And Yvonne is coming tomorrow. Now, how exciting do you think that is for me? Very. Because I've got this long list of things that I need help with, and I've been waiting for somebody to come visit me so that I could get the help. Poor Yvonne. But I was smart. I said, okay, and apparently Wade is away, so she's not under a time constraint. And I said, what can I make you for dinner? Mac and cheese? I know how she loves my mac and cheese. So that way I know she's staying for dinner and, she's going to get her mac and cheese, and I'll give her some in a care package to take home. And I'll also bake her some bread because she does love my bread too. So exciting. So I have lots to report about that next week. Under problems, anybody got any stressful problems today? Ones that you need to change a habit about, maybe. While you're thinking about that and typing, I wanted to let you know that I have an ongoing problem with my back room, and I'm going to get Yvonne to help me take one step forward in that one. And I did ask Beth, who is the ultimate taskmaster for me, I did ask Beth to hound me about getting things done in there. Because I definitely need to spend some time. I've been spending a lot of time this week playing on making Christmas cards. And at one point, I needed to remind myself that that's what retirement is. I'm allowed to do fun things. And I can hear this voice at the back of my head, very stressful, this voice at the back of my head going, you are wasting the good weather of summer by making Christmas cards. That's winter work. And I'm going, no, it isn't. It's what I want to do, work. I know my local grocery store sells it by flat. So, and Jeannie, do you want to check where you are, whether you can see the price of a flat of eggs versus a dozen? Yeah, let's see if somebody else can find it where they live. So number one is that back room going to change if I don't change my habit about it? Now, you will remember I started off by unpacking 1 box a day. Now, it isn't that I haven't unpacked anything. It's just that I've got to that point again where I need to save up and buy more stuff. Now, I did that. I can't tell a lie. I've already saved the next unit, the money, and bought the next unit. I need to put it together. But it means I got to pull all the boxes out to put that new unit into the space where the boxes are. It's going to make a huge difference. So I'm going to get Yvonne to help me move the boxes out tomorrow and take a couple of the boxes that I've got and put them under my house. I have a lot of storage space under my house and deck. Most of the stuff under the deck is being used with the stuff that I took out of the, you remember the garage shed that I had? So those spaces under the deck are used, but I've got a lot of space under the house itself. And I am going to start putting boxes under the house. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put boxes that mice are going to enjoy. So my first box will contain light bulbs, for example, because I've apparently got enough light bulbs to, start a shop. Don't know why. There we go. 36 count, $2.50. And how much for a dozen? 36 in a flat. 3 dozen in a flat. Wow. All right. And it's for $2.50. Isn't that an amazing price, Jody? And this is like, if you are a baker, if you are somebody that, or even not, get them. If you've got a freezer and the space to be able to freeze them, put them into muffin tins or whatever, in liners if necessary. I've got silicone liners, but you could also put them in. You could also put them in paper liners, I guess. All right, they're $1.40 for 1 dozen and $2.50 for 3 dozen. Yeah, go figure that math. Did you know that, Jody? So, you could literally just, take your muffin liner things and pop them in the trays and then drop 1 egg in each overnight in the freezer. Hey, you could freeze a dozen a night. And you had no idea. I know. That's why I'm here. So every time, first of all, oh, no problem, Jeannie, but thank you for trying. That's all right. So Jody managed to find it, right? So where she is in New Hampshire, it's $1.40 for a dozen. I pay $5 for a dozen. Isn't that amazing? And only $2.50 for 3 dozen when you buy 3 dozen. You know who taught me that? Doug. And I've never, excellent info. Very funny, Jody. I see they didn't cut away your sense of humor when they did the op. So I saw this quote and I thought it was good. It said, war is God's way of teaching us geography. How many of you, when you think about it, go, I had no idea where Kandahar was until we started to have problems with the Taliban, or, did you really know where Baghdad was? Mosul, and you think about it. So, hi, Jenny, good to see you. It's like, isn't it true, though, that when we have these conflicts in the world, it teaches us a lot of geography? I thought that was a great quote. Now, I have a big fridge, a double door fridge, but not as big as the one I used to have, but I have a big one. But boy, it is badly designed. And when I say badly designed, I just, find it very difficult to keep food in it the way that I want to. Hi, Judith. Good to see you. I am. And how are things with you in Ireland, right? I hope. Maybe I've gone see now. Hell, we know that anyway. Anyway, I thought I'd let you know that what I've done to try and fix the problem is what I did is I bought myself some little containers that I can keep my lettuce in, but it's also good for holding, corralling, a lot of the bottles and things. And that's a bag of yogurt. For those of you in the States, if you can buy yogurt by the bag, do so. It's a great saving. Oh, wait. So now I'm finding it easier than, trying to get individual things out. I can now grab a container and I know what's in it. So I've managed to get 4 of them in the space that was causing me so much trouble. And I'm now looking for smaller containers as well, because obviously it's going to give me more room. Yes, I was right. She is in Ireland. All right. Hi, everybody. All good in Ireland. Enjoying the rare heat wave we've been having. And hi, Jody. Hope you're doing good. She is. She's doing remarkably well. So how kind of you. Jeannie's saying to Jody that she was careful for me to buy mustard without garlic, because some of the mustards that they make, this awesome mustard, has garlic in it. But this one, I want to tell you, has not caused me any problems. So, no, it's caused me great joy rather than any problems. Anyway, I thought I'd talk about that, which is, how many of you have got a fridge that isn't, it's overwhelming for you because, every time you open it up, things fall out or whatever. And I'm going, I have to change my habit about how I store things in the fridge. Another thing that I've started to do is, if it gets to the end of the week, and I sort of on a weekly basis, I bring in milk and stuff like that. What I'm doing now is I'm freezing the leftover milk so I can add it to smoothies. So I thought I'd mention that to you. I would like to say that I think our habits for all of us have changed over the COVID thing. I wanted to ask you all, what habits have you changed because of COVID? All right, so Judith is saying, I bought a clear plastic tray organizer for my fridge and took everything out of the fridge, cleaned it and organized it and put the trays in. And they didn't fit. Judith, that sounds like something I would have done. Yeah. Well, I made sure that mine would fit. In fact, I could have got slightly bigger, but the ones I've got do fit. But, we hear you. By the way, Judith, do you have any Tupperware lying around more than you should have? Because, quite honestly, I found that making better use of them, other than just keeping them in the 2 drawers or whatever that you have, is a really good idea. And I say Tupperware because I'm of that age, but whatever. I've managed to now corral my plastics into 1 drawer, but it's full. And that's it. I'm only allowed what will fit in that drawer. And so I found that I keep finding more, and then I use it for different purposes now. My everyday stuff, that's my drawer. So that's it. That's my habit. So any other tricks about de-stressing your fridge? I now have, without a doubt, a totally full fridge and freezer. So that now it's time for me to sort that out. Judith's saying, I took them back and got a refund. I don't have a lot of Tupperware, just the ones we use daily. Okay, so the thing is, I think your idea was perfect, don't you? So now you know what doesn't fit. Yeah, that's the Edison thing. Edison said every time that he failed to invent the light bulb, he celebrated the fact he'd found one way that it doesn't work, which meant it lessens the number of tries he needed till it did. And it took him 30,000 tries, but he never quit. So what I'm saying to you, Judith, is don't give up on a very good idea. Did you get the one with drawers in it? Or, what I would do is start maybe this time by measuring them, measuring the space, and then write down that space and put it in your wallet. Why? So, maybe you got, an old business card or something, put it in your wallet. So the next time you go there, you know it's already in your wallet, the right size. Yeah, Jeannie's saying, I bought 3 red Lazy Susan trays for the refrigerator. Very helpful. There you go. I don't think I have that would work in my fridge. Part of me goes, I've got 2 big drawers at the bottom for vegetables and fruit. That works. But I think I need to put more than just vegetables and fruit in. I've got another smaller drawer that I put cheese in, and whatever deli ham I'm using this week. It's the rest of the crud that I'm trying to sort out at the moment. Now, again, one of the things, remember I said to you that the biggest waste of space that we have is from waist level to the ceiling. Have a look at your fridge. Have a look at your fridge door and see how much wasted space there is in the fridge door. Why? Because you've got a bottle this big with only this much in it. And what I'm starting to do is to buy the smaller size, this is 1/4 cup, I think, mason jar, and decanting my bottles into jars. Does that make sense to anybody? And therefore, I still know what it is. I just, put a note on it, tell me what it is. But I'm not now, I haven't got a huge, great bottle with this much in it. I have got a small jar with that much in it. Wonder if that makes sense. So that's a suggestion. Huh. How are we all doing with our commitments about exercise? And Jody, continues to do an incredible job. For somebody that couldn't walk, she managed to impress all her medical people with the fact, I found another jar, with the fact that she was able to exercise without being able to walk by doing the arm rolls. Remember that? And it was so funny because it worked. And she knew it worked, and she could prove that it worked. And so to me, it's very exciting. I was having a look this week. How am I doing? With all the excuses in the world, my average steps per week is going down. Now, to be fair, it is summer, and we had the heat wave. I could come up with all sorts of excuses. What is the reality? The reality is my steps are going down because I am not keeping up the habit of doing, 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening. That's quite honestly, that's all that it is. Yes, Jeannie's saying, I am doing more steps now because I'm at home instead of at the hotel. Yes, or at the apartment, right? And you think about it, that's what I found as well, was that, having the bigger space you obviously take more steps. I do all sorts of things to make sure that I, take the steps. For example, I've got 2 bathrooms in my place. I don't use the one that's in the middle of the house. That's the guest bathroom. I don't use it. Why? I want the extra steps of going all the way to the back of the house, which is where my bathroom is, and using that one. So do things. And the truth is, I now know from my experience that I can choose, for example, to put on something like the Olympics and just literally say, okay, I'm going to do 15 minutes, and set my timer and just literally walk for 15 minutes. If I don't want to go outside, I can still do it. I just need to get back into that habit. So I'm going to keep talking about it, people, because I need the support. Kez is saying, hi, I've watched you a lot of YouTube fridge organizing videos, and they use Lazy Susans with sides on them to store their condiments together. Watching these type of videos really helps with stress and calming. Okay, so that's a really good thing. Kez, thank you for letting us know. I didn't know there was such a thing. Hi, Erit. How are things in Israel? 2:32. I'm not even going to ask you are you watching the Olympics as well as us? And again, I'm going to repeat the quote that I came up with earlier in the week, but this one, which is, your health is what you make of it. Everything you do and think either adds to your vitality, energy, and spirit, or it takes away from it. So, that is so true, isn't it? Now, I wanted to talk about the Olympics a little bit. I find it interesting. I'm noticing a lot of people are sort of saying, well, it's not the true Olympics because, some of the main players have been forced to, not be able to perform and so forth. I still think it's a memorable Olympics. In a way that, there's part of me, and maybe I just see the glass half full, but there's part of me that says if I had been training for 4 years to do the Olympics and I had an opportunity to do it, I wonder whether I would do it. Now, let's think about that. Is there a risk? Well, the risk is that I could be a carrier or become a carrier and get taken out, of the competition. It doesn't mean, because if I'm vaccinated, it doesn't mean I'm going to get hospitalized or in ICU. It means that I just might become a carrier. All right. So the risk in terms of my health isn't that great. But we know that some of the participants, are not vaccinated and chose not to. And that's, they're right. So they're the ones at risk. The risk, the real risk element is those that haven't been vaccinated, as we know. And I'm still amazed how many people seem to think that the vaccine is going to stop them from getting the Delta variant. No, it's going to stop you from going into hospital with it. And it's proven that even with the Delta variant, we've got pretty good coverage. All right, so Irit is saying, a tip from me about the fridge. Put a sticker on the container with food, with what it has on it and the date on the side. Oh, it's on the, so it looks you in the eyes. Yes, a very good idea. I am inclined not to cook food to go into the fridge anymore. Most of what I have in the fridge is the ingredients I will put into food. That's my new habit. I've just got rather a lot of it. It needs purging, is the answer. Judith was saying, I was watching the opening ceremony, and when I saw the flag bearer guy from Tonga, oh, really? Is he back again? It flashed back to the previous Olympics when we all had fun watching it live. Yes, so he's still there. Yeah, That's a vision I can keep in my mind. Thank you for reminding me, Judith. I had forgotten about that. It's nice to know that he's still around. Did any of you see the guy from Turkey, I think it was, win the one swimming competition that he wasn't expected to win? He got the gold. Did any of you see that? Because I want to tell you the joy on his coach. Talk about raw emotion. His coach just about went insane with joy. And, we forget about that, don't we? We forget about, not only is it the joy of the swimmer, but also the joy of the coaches that have trained them. Yeah, and so to me, I just love these moments. I was watching, funny enough, I was texting with Lauren in Tasmania because we were both watching the road race. I don't know if any of you saw that, the men's road race. It was like over 200 kilometers. And, at one point, a flash came up at the bottom of the screen and said, oh, only 58 kilometers to go. And I don't know about you guys, but just, I'm going, only? And, and then they still sprint at the end. I mean, how do they do that? They must be so incredibly fit. Now, under the segment of Did You Know, which country do you think has the most fresh water in the world? Just have a guess. Try not to Google it, but because I've got the answer for you in a minute. Just have a guess. What do you think? No, there's no harm in guessing it. I was absolutely stunned because I didn't know this. And you know me, if I didn't know it, then the chances are maybe you don't know it either. Any guesses? I have no idea, is Jodie's guess. Funny enough, I thought Canada would be up there. I thought the US would be up there. Judith thinking Fiji, a pretty small island, but a good guess. They sell that. They sell that fancy water, yeah. All right, so here you go. Here we go. Did you know Brazil has the most fresh water in the world? I did not know that. And then the US, and then, yeah, Canada's got quite a bit, but not as much as the US. Now, I thought Canada would have a lot more, but I don't know about you. Brazil didn't come up in my sort of possibilities at all. How about this one? Changing lifestyle habits acquired over many years is often extremely difficult. Now, there's the understatement of the week, isn't it? I look at it and go, I have to remind myself, it took me nearly a lifetime to stop the habit of smoking. What makes me think that losing weight is going to be instant when I choose not to do it by diet, but I choose to do it by a lifestyle change? Now, I know you're all saying, but Sal, you can eat keto and you can lose that weight in a heartbeat. I know that I am slowly going in that direction. But, the thing that I'm trying to do is to learn that I can have whatever I want, just eat less of it. So, all right, just eat less of it. And so now, as I said, to go from my dinner being a plate, hang on a second. My dinner used to be a plate this big, and it used to have food all over it. I now, as I was saying, I now have something this big with my meal in it. Now, surprisingly enough, I am not feeling that hungry. And I am now starting to lose the weight. It took a long time, but I am now starting to lose the weight. Now, if I were perfect at it, I'd probably be, losing a lot more. The other thing that I found helped me understand better was, you remember I said to you that I remember listening to Anderson Cooper talk about the fact he eats exactly the same thing every day. He's found out the magic formula. He can eat this every day and stay at his weight. Now, he knows that once or twice a week he's going to be going out to dinner with friends or whatever, and that's okay. It's all part of the system. As long as he eats this for the rest of the week, whatever this is, he knows that he'll be fine. And so that's, I don't know about you, but that to me that's doable. Yes, Jeannie's saying, York and I sometimes eat lunch around 2 p.m. and then we have a snack for dinner. I found that I am not eating. We talked about intermittent fasting. I haven't had breakfast yet, and it is already 4:33. I have not had breakfast yet. Why? I am training myself not to need breakfast. But I have had protein in the milk, so I'm not feeling hungry. And then in the evening, because that's when I like to eat, in the evening, I have an evening meal, and then I have a gap, and then I have a dessert, because I like my desserts. And then before I finish the evening, I will have cheese and crackers. And that's how I'm doing it now. So until I am ready to cook dinner, I have liquid. Again, Jody taught me you can survive very well on liquid. So think about that. How about again, I'm trying to find out what habits did you get into over COVID time and pandemic time that you think you will carry over? How many of you believe that you have learned not to go out too much to do shopping? That you now do a lot of your shopping online and have it sent to you, and realize that it's also saving you gas and also saving you stress and maybe saving you on the pocketbook as well. All right, so Kez is saying, have you heard of the 80-20 eating? 80% healthy, 20% junk. Yes, and that's really, the whole point, Kez, is, as Jody said to me many, many times, it's not what you eat, is how much of it that you eat that causes the problem. So can I eat, a slice of bread every day? Yes. And can I actually eat 2 slices of sourdough? Yes. If I want to. But it's, what else am I eating? If I have jam, if I decide I think I'll have some bread and jam, I have no sugar added jam, and it tastes just like regular jam to me. By the way, if I want to sweeten my yogurt, I'll put a teaspoon of that jam in there. Gives it a whole different taste. Jody's saying, I have never taken for granted having supplies on hand, like toilet paper and extra food in the pantry. I didn't give it a second thought before the pandemic, and now we'll stay on top of being stocked up. Yes. How many of you are going, I learned that lesson the hard way? Jeannie's saying, my favorite meal is breakfast. I do not get sick after breakfast. Frequently. Oh, she has, Jeannie suffers from Crohn's, so she's saying it doesn't affect her after breakfast. But does after dinner quite often. probably because of the stress. I would say, think about what you eat for breakfast. I look at it now, I just look at it now and say, I don't eat breakfast until late in the day, but I don't get up until late in the day either, Jeannie. So, my day is not similar to yours. My breakfast, I normally have breakfast about 5, right? Because I don't get up until, close to lunchtime sometimes, especially on Saturdays. And today, I was up until 3 or something watching the Olympics, and then I gave myself permission to sleep as long as I wanted to. So I didn't get up until 11:30 today. But that's okay. I give myself permission. I'm retired. I can do what I like, right? How about this one? How many of you know that you need to smarten up on your tidying up habits? Anybody? I'm getting better, but I find as well, as in all things, if I start concentrating on my tidying up habits, then I lose stuff on my other habits. Do any of you know what I'm talking about? So I've noticed while I've been concentrating on getting some creative time in, because I can and I should, it's healthy for me, and it's a way for me to lower my blood pressure. I realize that there are other things falling by the way a little bit. And so there's no point stressing out on it. It's just I need to allocate a bit more of my day to doing those things. On the flip side of that, one of the things I was saying to Jeannie, it really is important that she does not unpack 24/7. All right. That I would really recommend. I know she has to clear a pod this week and so forth, but I would really recommend you give yourself, a couple of bits of time. And I found that worked really well for me. I just, said I need to unpack this many boxes a day, and that's it. And after that, I can sit down and get on with life, Jeannie. It is time for you to get on with your life. And I would also, make sure that you do that because of the stress on your back and your muscles and everything else, and on York as well. All right, because I'm pretty certain he's going to, want to do more than he should be doing. And with all due respect, we're not spring chickens anymore. So when we change these habits, something's got to give. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. Hang on a second. So if we have our life in balance, let's say that we spend some time on our family and friends, we spend some time on our health, we spend some time on our creativity, let's say, relaxation, whatever you want to call it. We spend some time on our finances, bills and things, and we spend some time on our admin stuff, okay, and so forth, whatever else is left. But here's the thing. I think you can all see that if I spend an extra amount of time playing with my Christmas cards, suddenly my life is out of balance, all right? Do you agree? And not only that, but something else, let's say my health, is going to have to, will have shifted as well. And so when we can think of it like that, it's really important that we're aware that it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're stupid. It's because if you spend a bit more time on it, it's going to take away from somewhere else. So here is the thing. Keeping in balance means that we get disciplined enough to give each of these things a bit of time. So, yeah, Jeannie's saying that, she has a dog and the dog wakes up early. And so she gets up early, 5 o'clock in the morning to walk her dog. Bina had woken me up at 5 o'clock in the morning, he would not have lasted as long as he did. And so, that's what a doggy door is for, as far as I'm concerned. I think it is really important, though, that we understand that as we come out of the pandemic, we are also going to be changing our habits again. All right. So your habits are going to create a little bit of imbalance. I want to talk again about this whole situation about allowing or checking on people coming into your home, whether they've been vaccinated or not. And I think we need the right words around this, which is, do you have the right to ask? Yes, you do. You have the right to ask somebody. I wonder if I can just ask you, have you been vaccinated? Quite honestly, the people who are likely to not be vaccinated, the people who don't immediately go to their purse to show you that they have. I don't know, if somebody asked me, have you been vaccinated? I would open up my wallet and go, yeah. I would, because I carry it with me. But, the thing is this, the reason I would want to know is not because I am scared of them. I am scared for them. So my next comment, and maybe we all need to find words around this. My next comment is, I just want to let you know that I have no idea if I'm carrying that Delta variant. I have no idea. I have not, been doing tests to find out. And if you have not been vaccinated, I fear for you. You see, it's not about I fear for me anymore. It's about I now fear for you. I don't want to call them out for being stupid or whatever, because it is their right not to be vaccinated. We know for a fact that the unvaccinated are the people that are ending up in hospital now. So I fear for them. I don't hate them. I don't see reason to hate them. We are now in a situation where this is going to do the damage to the unvaccinated. And be aware. So please also, and I'm going to keep saying that, if you want to lower your stress, keep wearing a mask when you go out. Please understand that, still carry your disinfectant with you and use it. Wipe down your cart before you use it. Do what you can to make sure that you are not picking it up and transmitting it. But you do understand that the vaccine is not going to stop you from getting it. It's going to stop you from going to hospital with it. All right, so Kez is saying, I realized I stopped and became lazy again. I need to go back to cleaning. As I do things, it'll take less time to put a minute in. Yeah, and put something away. Right, so I agree. Kez, can I give you my trick that really helped me? They say a couple of things, Kez. Number one is in the morning, I carry a QB with me from room to room. All right. And what I do is, after I've tidied up in the bathroom, I make sure everything that doesn't belong in the bathroom, like washing, needs to come out of the bathroom. Maybe a glass that ended up there that shouldn't be there. Maybe something else that ended up in the bathroom that, that shouldn't be there. It all goes in the QB. And then I move to the bedroom, tidy up the bedroom. Anything that doesn't belong in the bedroom goes in the QB. Is there anything in the QB that belongs in the bedroom that was in the bathroom? All right. And then that's how I do it. So basically that QB keeps walking around the house. And I do the same. I have another QB that I carry for cleaning stuff. And I know which room I need to do next because that's where the QB is. Hang on a second. And the QB contains, you know, a long-handled Swiffer, one of those, because it can go up high, you know, and do things. It carries got a smaller Swiffer. I've got, you know, cleaning rags in here. I've got all sorts of bottles of stuff. Oh, I always carry some spray, you know, nice smelling stuff. So as you finish your room, just spritz it. Anyway, this way, I find it much easier. So I literally walk with carrying 2 different cubies. And I find that helps, as long as I keep on track. Yes, you know, Kez is saying I can pick up and do things in 10 minutes. I found, how many of you, probably you all do this and I don't, but yeah, I got out of the habit of tidying up my kitchen before I went to bed. There's something about waking up in the morning and seeing a tidy kitchen that really does start your day off right, doesn't it? So I'm back into that now. Before I go to bed, I don't care what time it is, tidy up the kitchen. Load the dishwasher, set it going. And it really, you know, has made a difference to me doing that. So thank you for reminding me. I'd like to give an update on both Jody and I have got our blood pressure back under control again, which is an important thing. And in fact, I am surprised how well mine is doing. So, all right, so I do have a question. Have I got time? Yes, I have. How many of you have got young grandchildren or have young babies yourself? Or the reason I'm saying this is because that's my fear now. You know, any minute now they're going to open up the border, and I'm going to have hopefully the ability to, you know, either, you know, I know Benji's waiting to come and visit me, but maybe I can get to go and visit them again. But here is my question. How do I know I'm not going to infect baby Leah? Right? That is my, and then my logic says, but Sal, the children are already back at, you know, at school, doing summer school or whatever. So, you know, you can only do the best you can, but, you know, I would never forgive myself. So how do we protect the youngest, the ones that are not able to be? Irit's saying, I have 3 grandchildren, 7, 4, and 2. So how do we protect them? Irit, what is the protocol that in your country to protect the youngest of our population? And so, you know, I look at it and go, yes, Jeannie's saying, my daughter worries about the variant coming to her 2 young boys. How old are the boys? I thought they were, yeah, they're sort of under 10, right? And so that's our next concern, is how do we protect them? If anybody has the answer to that, I would really love to know it. Because I think that's the next new habit we need to look at is, okay, we're now down to those who choose to be vaccinated and those who choose to be at risk. That's fine. All right, so Irit's saying that in terms of her 3 grandchildren, she does not kiss them. I just put my hand on their body and pet them. That will be so difficult for me. What about hugging? You know, yeah. And so let's be aware. If any of you get information on this, please share it with me so that I can share it with the viewers. Really important thing to my mind. And to me, you know, some countries have been able to vaccinate more than others, and some countries are probably never going to have enough vaccine. I'm thinking about, will India ever have enough vaccine, and will Africa ever have enough vaccine? I really do think it's going to get worse again in the winter. And so bringing up Jodi's point about, have a look at your cupboards now. All right. Start restocking on paper goods now while you've got time. Hi there, Em. How are you doing? Good to see you. Have a look at your pantry and start, continue to now recycle what you've got. In other words, take everything off the shelf, mark it the date that you bought it. I'm actually take a Sharpie now, and I write on the can when I got it, so that I'm using them in rotation. And, do what you can to do this in a smart way. As I said, if you have enough room in your freezer, buy 3 dozen eggs and make sure that you freeze 2 dozen of them in case eggs suddenly become in short supply. If you have a chance of buying roasts of beef or whatever, get as big as you can, cook it once and freeze it, and be happy. That roast beef that I did, you remember when I did the roast beef in the Halogen with that mustard over the top of it? I want to tell you, that's the gift that keeps on giving. I've still got quite a lot of it left. It's amazing. So look at it and be smart. Don't be scared. I was looking at the inflation costs, the rate of inflation. I think the inflation is up to about 2.3, and they're expecting it to go higher, of course. So what I want you all to do is not to be scared of that. Be prepared for that. As inflation goes up higher, costs are going to be greater. Where are you going to save money? And I'm going to start again as we get out of summer and towards the fall. I'm going to start reminding you all to please be smart about this. Let's be ahead of the game, not behind it. When suddenly they say, "Oh, you can't get paper products again," you're going, "No, I got mine." I'm not saying hoard it, but it's a bit like, how many of you have a rainy day slush fund in your banking account? I have my everyday account, and I have a savings account, which is my rainy day account, and then I have my deep savings account. But to me, it's like, we've got to think about everything that we have. Do I have an heir and a spare, right? If I'm using this bag of flour, do I have another bag of flour to back it up? All right. And now I buy my bags of flour at 10 pounds at a time now. So if I have one bag to back it up, that's quite a lot of flour. Yes. Jeannie is saying she used the oven in her new range for the first time today. Scary, isn't it? And the new chopping board. Well, it's a bit like a new car, Jeannie. Once that chopping board has got a couple of cuts in it, it'll look like a regular one. I don't know about you, but it's just like, I cut into my new cutting board. Yeah. Oh, something funny, Jeannie. Funny you should mention that. When I was leaving, you remember I had that, what do you call it, accommodation that I was in while my house was being rebuilt. Well, when I knew I was getting down to the last month and I was going home again, I knew that I would have to account for all the inventory. But what I did was, I also was pretty sure they wouldn't be passing a lot of the things on. So I wrote them this letter, Jeannie. I don't know if you remember. I sent them an email and I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed using the cutting board for the last 6 months. But I'm pretty sure that you're not going to be passing a used one onto the next guest. And if that is so true, please let me know that I can take it with me. And I said that about dishcloths and all sorts. I had quite a list of stuff that I was pretty sure they were not going to pass on to the next client because they were, because they were used. And I came home with extra dishcloths and newish cutting board, just because I did that. Eric's saying, lucky my husband thought about our future when we were young. So we are well off with our financial. Awesome. I am, and thank him every day for that. And Emma's saying, sometimes I remember, and I never asked about it, so was when they took photos of everything in your home to place it back in the right order for fixing it up. Did they do that? They took pictures. I'm not joking, Emma. They opened up a drawer, let's say my cutlery drawer, flatware, whatever you call it, whatever country you're in. They took a picture. So not only did they know, and then they marked, they wrote on the text on the picture was, first drawer, kitchen, left-hand side of the faucet, for example, right? That's where I keep my flatware. And literally, they had this master plan. There would be, you can see I've got shelves there, right? They would take a picture of each shelf. How well did they do? I was amazed, quite honestly. I was absolutely amazed. The only problem that I had, Emma, was I haven't been able to find the vanilla essence that I was making because they marked it. But I used a different setup when I came back. I took the wrong bookshelf. And I still haven't finished sorting out the other bookshelves to find out where is it. I know it's on one of the bookshelves, but I haven't found it yet. Do you know what I mean? Because I took the wrong one and put it in the wrong place. If I'd put I didn't realize that this is bookshelf D3, and I took bookshelf D2 or something. And anyway, but I will find it. You know that. So I do recommend it, by the way. It really was incredible. So I would say that all of us have learned to manage better over this COVID time. I think all of us who are still able to talk to one another have learned what we really need for support is different than we thought it was. I believe that all of us have had our habits changed, whether we wanted them to or not. And not altogether bad. I think a lot of us have found out we've got friends that we didn't know we had, and we have not got friends that we thought we had. And that people really do need us. And that is why I am making sure that I take the time to send some Christmas cards this year. All right? Little things mean a lot to people, always have, always will. So this year, I am planning. Remember, it took 6 weeks for 2 different cards to get from Canada to just the States. So I'm probably going to be sending out my Christmas cards in November, mid-November for overseas, maybe beginning of November, if I want to make sure they get there in time. Any guarantee? No, but at least I know that I will have done my best. And that is, and I've had people say, oh, don't bother to send anything. It's not worth the money. That's another way to save money, by the way. I've got this great system with Judy now. If I want to get the girls a present, I will text Judy and go, okay, Judy, what does Juliana need for birthday this year? And Judy will say nothing. And I go, no, okay, fine. I'm going to get her something. So tell me what. And then she'll go, oh, she really would like da-da-da-da-da. And I go, okay. So what I do is I get Judy to order it in the States. And then I send Judy the money. Why? Because I would rather spend $40 extra buying more presents than $40 paying for postage from international postage. Am I making any sense here? You understand? It's just like, why would I waste that money? I'd rather spend it on the girls. I don't have to spend the 40, but at least I can buy them a better present. And Judy what I do is I do all the research. I go, okay, that's what they want. Then I will go online on the, Amazon.com, and I will find whatever it is that she's talking about. And I will then give her the link, so it doesn't take her any time. I send the links and say, here are the links, Judy, go ahead, buy them, and let me know what it came to, right? By the time taxes are put on or whatever. And then I transfer that amount of money. And I do it same day, right? But do you understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry to the post office, but really, when you cannot guarantee that a card can get to the States in less than 2 weeks, what has happened to our systems? I cannot support that. It's not worth it. When you're going to charge me 10 times the value of something to mail it, I cannot support that. Irit saying, luckily I watch them as well, so I know who you're talking about. Such a sweet family. I assure you that most of the people here know who Benji and Judy and the children are. And, it is so funny to me because it's just like, when I first did it, I had quite a chat with Judy and said, Judy, it's not that I'm cheap. This is not about being cheap. This is about, why would I waste that amount of money? It just doesn't, and I'm on a limited budget now because I'm retired and so forth. I don't want to waste money anymore. All right. I would rather invest it in a different way. And she totally got it. And, as she said it, I got Christmas list. I just knew what I wanted to get them. I literally sent a spreadsheet and said, Judy, these are the presents I want to give everybody. And please order them up and give me the total. But it didn't take her a lot of time because she had the links for everyone. If it took her 10 minutes, it would be a lot. So think about that. People that you care about that live in another country, please do not waste the money on the cost of mailing. So here's my question, Jeannie. You said that the mustard is already on the way. I'm horrified at the price that you will probably have to pay to get that to me. I could probably get 2 extra pots of the stuff. So please check with me before you do that again. Jody, I have to stop Jody. Jody wants to send me care packages, and I keep going, I'll let you send it to me only if I can pay for the postage. So again, Jeannie, let me know what the postage cost is. Kim. And Judith saying, I asked my godmother in Dallas to send me some bath and body soaps. And it was ridiculous how much it cost to mail to Ireland. I felt so bad that I sent her some gift cards to pay for it. Yes, and that is the whole thing, really. It's not worth it today. It really is not worth it. And with the speed and business of online shopping now, why do it? And by the way, I thought that I could still buy on Amazon and get it to the States without paying international shipping. No. Jeannie is saying, too late, Sal. It was my pleasure. Hoping it arrives intact. I'm hoping it does too. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know when it gets here. When did you send it? I would allow at least a couple of months. And if I haven't thanked you, I haven't got it yet. All right, everybody. So 2 things. Number 1, life is about to get more stressful again because we're going to change our life patterns again. be prepared for that, not scared of it. The other thing is it's going to mess with our routines. We got used to this routine now, and suddenly we're going to have to make more time for family and friends again, which means we're going to have to spend less time somewhere else. Does that make sense? And so think about that and be flexible enough to go, okay, I need to know this is coming. I need to know that my routines are going to get upset as we come out of the pandemic. Jody, was saying to me that she doesn't know how she's going to be able to eat this much more. And I went, Jody, you will find the way. Give yourself a break. Emma's asking, did I have a German Shepherd? No, I had two. I rescued two different German Shepherds from the pound. Greatest dogs. One was a cross German Shepherd Collie, a Border Collie, and one Bean that you probably remember was a German Shepherd Husky cross. And I unfortunately didn't have him long enough. I got Bud, my German Shepherd Collie, at about 1 year. I would think he was about 9 months to a year when I got him. And then about the same with Bean. I would say Bean was probably about 9 months to a year when I got him. And they have such personalities. Yes, certainly. What advice did you need, Em? If I can help, I don't know. While you're typing, I want to tell you the best advice I got, and it came from a top breeder, was if you want to exercise a German Shepherd, exercise its mind. Don't think that walking 20 kilometers a day is the exercise that it needs. What it needs is its mind exercised. All right, so she walks you, she pulls, right? Couple of great tricks for that one. I'm presuming that's what you want to know. How did I teach Bean and Bud to walk properly with me? The greatest thing with a German Shepherd is they got a long tail. So what I would do, Emma, is if Bean started to get ahead of me, and his tail would be wagging away because he was excited. I just grab his tail. That gets their attention. And I'd go, no, heel. And he'd go, oh. And I'd take the step it took to catch up to him. And then off we'd go again. And then after a while, he'd get excited and he'd start to go forward. And I'd just grab his tail. This is called, know that every time you do this, I'm going to grab your tail. And it's not going to be comfortable for you. Okay. Now, the other thing, because Eve, right? Your dog's called Eve, I think. Such a pretty dog. All right. Here's the other thing that I did. If this is Eve, okay. Oh, sorry, German Shepherd. Oh, never mind. So you get the idea. It looks more like a horse now. Here's the other thing. I started off, until I got him trained to walk on a leash, with 2 leashes, not 1. Okay? The 1 leash I would use normally. The second one went between his front legs and to me. So I'm here, okay? And I've got 1 leash that is on normally and 1 leash that's going between his front legs, loosely. The thing was, I never used the second one until he started to get ahead of himself. And then I'd use the second one, which would lift that leg off the ground. That gets their attention. Hang on a second, I don't have 4 legs anymore. And then they're going, what happened? And I'm going, heel. Right? I didn't want to keep messing with his throat all the time, which is, what it is. And I found that worked really well. So between the tail and the, excuse me, I said heel, 3 legs is you can't do it on, oh, my tail hurts. And, you'll be amazed how quickly the thing Cesar Millan said, which also works. I need to go back to show you this one, Em. It also worked, and I used it quite a lot. Hang on, I need to go back more. Okay, can you see? You can see my feet now. If this is Eve walking next to you here, and you can catch Eve fast enough, as she starts to go ahead of you, kick this foot. You understand? Take this foot and just give her a tap. Or if she's ahead of you, just tap her here. It's about distracting the thought to go forward. Yes, go right ahead, Eve. I will make time. Eve. M. And by the way, that tapping with the foot worked really well. I was very grateful for that. Remember that the thing is, you are taking Eve for a walk, not the other way around. So I'm glad you're asking that question. You see, a dog, if it thinks you're not under control, will take control, especially a big dog like that. I don't think there is one way, by the way. I think there are just, lots of different ways to do it. And I just didn't want to always, my trainer said you need to, yank sideways, not back. Well, when Bean was ahead of me, how do I yank sideways? The only way is to yank the throat, and I didn't like that. So I just, sometimes, I don't mind telling you, Em, sometimes if he was really misbehaving, I'd pick him up by his tail. This is called, I said, heel. All right, so you got major problems on leash. That requires training. All right? And I would go and get trained. It's not dog training, it's human training. If I had a lot of problems with Bean doing funny things, and I spent a lot of time. I went to the top trainer in my area, and I knew that I needed it. I needed it. Bean was just being Bean. I needed to learn how to do it. All right, so you're saying the trainer I have says she needs more social time with dogs. Any problem is it's off lead on a Friday evening. Doesn't fix the... Well, find another trainer. Find another trainer, all right? Now then, another thing is, if you want to socialize her, maybe think about sending her to doggy daycare every now and then. And ask them if, explain that you need to socialize your dog. Sometimes, they will learn to socialize just by going to a day or two of doggy daycare, because the daycare people know how to sort out those sort of problems as well. So, it's all about, she's a big black dog. All right. To me, and I've got to say this, remember, it's not Eve's problem, it is yours. She's strong, but so am I. And so are you. You are stronger than you think you are. You see, a dog is looking for the owner to be the alpha dog. All right? And that's why I went to training, to learn to be the alpha dog. And I can remember, there are going to be times when you go to training, you think it's never going to work. I can remember the first time my trainer said, Sal, very quietly unleash Bud. Bean. It was Bean I was with. And I said, I got to tell you, if I take the lead off Bean, he's going to be gone around this barn. And I won't have any control. And he said, Sal, trust your dog and unclip him. And I said, on one condition. If he does what I think he's going to do, you will agree to go get him. And he said, absolutely. I said, okay, fine. And I will wait a little while before I do it so that he doesn't expect it. And I walked a few more paces forward and I unclipped him, and Bean went vroom, 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 around this huge barn about 10 times, full speed. And I just stood there smiling. Why? I knew I didn't have to go get him. And everybody else was just laughing so much. He was a big comedy actor in the training. He did everything so funnily. I don't know if you heard about this, Em, but even when we were doing, he was really good at doing, where are things hidden. He would have made a great sniffer dog, and every other dog, would smell what they're meant to smell and sit down and look pretty. Bean, he would go pow like that with a paw, or he'd pick it up and run because he knew there was food in there. And I remember saying to my trainer, would he still pass on that one? and the trainer would say to me, Sal, it's perfectly obvious he identified where the food was. Yeah, I think we got that both times. The only thing I would recommend is we don't train him for bomb sniffing, because that could be a little problematic. So the thing is, it's a case of I stopped taking my dog to the park. Okay. Why? It was so stressful for me. Why? I have a big black German Shepherd. People are scared of black dogs. That's why there's so many of them in the pound. So anything that happens, people freak. And then, dogs pick up on people freaking. So why would I do that? And so I didn't take him to the dog park. It's too stressful. I used to, but why do it to him? And so I think you have to make choices. And I do want to tell you that dog training is a great thing to do over the winter. Get you out of the house, and get you socializing with other people with dogs. You can see other people have just as many problems as you do. Yes, you're saying that a woman was walking her small dog. The woman panicked and tried to lift her small dog and accidentally pushed her pram and baby down the side of a riverbank. Well, that's pretty stressful, isn't it, for you? You know that it was not your fault. It was her reaction that caused that. So, if you've got a big black German Shepherd, these are choices you're going to have to make. So as well-trained, I used to have neighbors, I used to have neighbors down my street that said, love watching you when you come by walking your dog. Why? I very rarely was walking straight. I used to have all these tricks I would do to train Bean, right? So I'd go walk, 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 and see if he came with me. You see, I knew that he knew how to heel if he could feel that I changed direction and come with me. Or I'd literally be walking. I'd be walking and I'd just do an about turn and see if he came with me. Right? Use his brain. Use her brain, not just her legs. And what Bean used to walk sideways with me, right? I used to do dressage moves with my dog, where I'd be walking forward and then suddenly I would turn and walk like this. And then Bean learned how to do that as well. And so apparently, I didn't know it, but my neighbors used to love waiting for him to come by because he was always doing something strange. So think about using her brain. If she has nothing to concentrate on but getting going, then, I'm not surprised she misbehaves. If you are constantly making her do different things that she's not expecting, she has to be in the moment. The biggest problem you have with a big dog like that is they are anticipating their next move. You need to be anticipating their next move. So I would encourage you to get trained on how to train her. Interesting. Jody's saying, to me. You've saved my bacon a couple of times with Taylor, that's her fluff ball. Always great advice. Well, you know, it's like dogs just want to please you. But if we let them get bored, or if we don't understand why they're barking, you remember that whole thing about her barking at the pneumatic drill outside? Well, who wouldn't be scared stupid of that noise? And trying to warn you that there's some terrible thing about to happen. They can hear it outside. The whole of the floor is vibrating to them. You see, we just hear the sound of a pneumatic drill outside. A dog feels that vibration as well. All right, which is why dogs anticipate an earthquake way before humans. Why? They can feel the earth moving in a whole different way. So, I want to thank you for coming and asking for my input. Lots of videos online, lots of professionals give you lots of different advice. I really recommend, though, that you give yourself the pleasure of a new hobby, and the hobby would be getting yourself trained, because not only will it help you with Eve, but, you know, maybe another dog yet to come. Because once you've learnt those skills, you maybe go back for a top-up, but you won't need to go through the whole thing again. And by the way, it ended up that, you know, Bean got all sorts of certificates for doing incredible things. The person who nearly failed it was me, not Bean. So think about that as well, right? People training, not dog training. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you for being with me, and I hope your afternoon is just a little less stressful, and that you understand that we are all going through huge change, and change means stress. We are all going to need to change our habits. That means stress. We are all going to have our routines messed about, because now people are going to come and visit us like they didn't before. It's going to be more stress. So expect it. Don't resent it. We're going back to the new normal. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, look after one another, but most of all, please, 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 remember to look after yourself. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, thank you for being here, and thank you for helping one another. Bye-bye for now.